The thought of telling someone something that is going to be maybe even life-changing can feel very weighty. And the only way to kind of manage that weight for you and for them is to keep it as simple as possible. None of us wants to do it, but most of us have to do it at some point, breaking bad news to someone that we love. The key point to remember with this is that less is more here. We're highly empathic beings, and the thought of telling someone something that is going to be maybe even life-changing can feel very weighty. And the only way to kind of manage that weight for you and for them is to keep it as simple as possible. So here are a few things that I would suggest. Your demeanor is important here. You need to be as authentic as possible while also being composed. If the news affects you both, like someone maybe has just died, or maybe someone has cancer, take a couple of minutes to ground yourself, because this is pretty big news for you too. If you notice that you feel maybe a little frozen, a little numb, maybe emotional, I would suggest writing down 3 simple statements that convey the news. This will help to ground you. So this would sound something like, "Honey, I have cancer. It looks like it's terminal. They're going to speak to both of us about the treatment." Okay, very simple. Now, usually at this point comes the silence or the shock. Things kind of go in slow motion. Here you can kind of just allow that to be. Don't fill the space. Don't try to make anything better. You'll have gone through this probably yourself when you got the news. The person is really here trying to take it in. Some people here seem like they aren't really registering it. They may seem almost even unaffected for a moment, or they may still be speaking like things are normal, right? Or they might move straight into solutions, sometimes ones that are a little bit unrealistic. And that just means it's taking them a little bit longer for it to drop down. And here you can kind of say things like simple, like, I don't think there's going to be much we're going to be able to do about this. Now, a word about timing. As quickly as possible. You do not want them finding something big out through the wrong channels. And sometimes that can happen depending on what the news is. I have really found that this is something that stays with people, finding out something big through someone they don't know that well, or realizing that a lot of other people heard that before them, or hearing it through group chats and wondering why they're hearing about it that way. So be conscious of this, and consider the order in which you're telling people news, okay? Try to do it in person. If not, tell them you want to speak with them when they have a quiet moment. Avoid doing it, obviously, when they are working, driving, or in the middle of something. Ask them if they can take a minute. If the news may make someone angry as well as sad, just be mindful of this and prepared for this. So public places wouldn't be the best here. It's got to be somewhere where the person can be unobserved, somewhere where they can have a little bit of privacy. Now, once the initial news is delivered and they've had a little space to be quiet or maybe get upset, they may have questions. And here you want to keep the answer simple. And if you don't know, just say that. If they stay quiet for a while and this worries you, you can gently check in. All right? If there are maybe more details and you're having to pace the news a little bit, you can say something like, "Okay, there's a little more to it. Do you want to hear it now or in a minute?" Okay? Now, finally, people are very different in how they respond to hard news. So you'll often hear something like, "Don't leave them alone." Some people actually need to kind of go off and be by themselves. So this is a case really of personal preferences here. But it also depends on how shocking the news is. I think the key is to try to tune into the person. Certainly don't leave right away. If they're far away from you, ask them what they're going to do now, express concern that they're on their own, and check in terms of who they have to support them, who's around, that kind of thing, okay? Now, I think, too, with someone who wants to go be by themselves or someone who's far away, just keep checking in on them, right? That's okay. Give them their space, but make sure that they know you're around. Finally, if the news doesn't affect you, you can obviously offer kind of condolences, that kind of thing. "I'm so sorry this has happened," right? If it does affect you, you can just share how you have taken the news. So you can say like, "Yeah, I'm still trying to get my head around it too." And apart from that, guys, there's not much more that we can do apart from really just getting ready to go through the changes that may be about to occur or the details that you need to be attending to. Bad news can have a lot of practical details that come with it, And while we're doing all of this, we're just trying to take care of ourselves and anybody else around us. Slow down, kind of steady through the steps, pay attention to simple things, getting enough sleep, remembering to eat, getting some air. And yes, it's perfectly okay to exercise or do anything that helps you, okay? Sometimes people feel like, am I acting the right way? There's no right or wrong ways here to adjust, you guys, Just do the things that make things better and don't do the things that make things worse. And you know what those are.